Good morning. Very quiet last night, really. Wolves, well, they actually mugged Burnley.
This market has been suspended.
It was a Burnley defensive mistake, and Huang Li Chan popping in to get the single goal. I did suggest laying over 1.5 goals, backing Burnley +1, given the Wolves 100%. Both teams to score record under the new manager, but I'm sure he'll be delighted that he's ended that sequence. So a good win for Wolves. Luton and Arsenal. You're always going to be with the arse throughout, but I don't think at any stage were Luton actually leading. You could have laid a draw, I suppose, at the 25th minute. Oh, this looks interesting. 1-1, 1-2, 3-2. You could have laid them here as well, 57th minute. I'm afraid this was I think I was nodding off by then at 8:15 kickoff, which is 2:15 a.m. or 3:15 a.m., something like that. Yeah, 3:15 a.m. So I was nodding off a bit there. So real angles, if you just stick with Arsenal and a late Desmond as well. But I'm afraid I was asleep by then. It's disappointing. Again, stick with Arsenal with the late Desmond do 2-2, drip laying the draw, and I hope that Arsenal turn up and get the win. That's about it really yesterday. The EFL Trophy, probably a competition I'd like to leave alone in the future, I think. It's a lot of lower tier clubs. Trust issues, as is the case with the UEFA Nations League as well. We had a 0-0 Wales and Germany for a 1.1 shot, but looking into it, they don't need to win. They're totally dominating the standings, the Germans, as you can see there. So arguable that they didn't need to win. But looking at the other odds-ons, just a simple 0-1 win there, 5-3 there, coming from 1-3 down. So there was potential in that one, but just trust issues with me as far as, well, just executing the goals. But no problem with this lot executing the goals, that's for sure. I think I'll leave the women's football alone in the future. French League 2. Any angles in, the first port of call would be odds-on favourites, and you can see Auxerre, job done. Angers, job done. Any other familiar names? Saint-Etienne. Well, it's 2.38 the favourite, so I do tell you to just be wary with these odds. That's what made it a tough old coupon yesterday. The market's telling you there's a lot of tough to call matches. GBF Pokal. Well, I starred them. St. Pauli, they do turn up with goals. Could have laid the draw second half if you fancied that one. But it's all a question mark of whether they're up for the cup or not. That's the problem. We know they're up for league football, but are they up for the cup? Liga Ha'al, it looks like it was an angry old night in Israel yesterday. Any odds on favourites? Well, Hapoel Haifa did score first. All dependent on whether you wanted to lay the draw there. But Lazio in the Coppa Italia, job done for them. And on to today, we've got the Premier League returning again. So it's a good old coupon this evening. Brighton against Brentford. Now, this is a question of whether you trust Brighton's goal scoring. Remember, they went through that rough patch of just scoring single goals, down, I think, to Europa League influence. And then they've transformed that to start scoring 2+ goals again. But there's a caveat. In the first match, 2 of the goals were penalties. And in the next match, there was also questionable intention regarding the goal. 2 goals in the last 2 matches. Latter match, Chelsea were red carded as well. So there's extenuating circumstances for Brighton. I still think there might be some struggles up front for them. Brentford are having a good season, despite the fact they've only won 5 matches. 4 wins in the last 6 matches. Element of momentum. They did lose to Liverpool and Arsenal. That's not a surprise. So it looks really good form. On the basis of Brighton, you're looking at a goal before half-time for them this evening. An interesting match. Going to be more competitive, I think, than the odds suggest. Brighton, Bournemouth, Brentford. We get the Bs right. Brentford are in a good mood at the moment. Good momentum. Brighton arguable that they don't deserve to return to their 2+ goal scoring pattern. An element of luck required. So if I was you and in the Brighton area, get the manager to buy you a lottery ticket. A bit of luck at the moment. I expect both teams to score here. To suspect a goal before half-time as well. Palace and Bournemouth. The problem with Palace is goals. 12th against 16th. Unreadable form for Palace. 83% plus of their goals come second half. So that's a neutral angle in to lay any second half draw. Bournemouth are poor away. Again, another side with momentum. We saw that against Aston Villa, whether they would score 3 goals again. They've had 3 wins in 5 matches, Bournemouth. They might actually be too much for Crystal Palace this evening. Bournemouth have that 2+ goal habit. Crystal Palace can stutter in scoring that second goal. Lay the 0-0 at half-time. Lay the second half draw. Fulham and Nottingham Forest. Well, as I speak about this, someone's got a Forest towel draped over their railing of their condo. So good luck to them this evening. Likely they'll be blurry-eyed like me, staying up to 2:30 a.m. to watch this one. So I will suffer along with that Forest fan. Loss, win, loss, win, loss, win at home for Fulham. It's the epitome of inconsistency. But they're not drawing. 2 wins in the last 3 matches. Did see them score 3 goals. 14th against 15th, so this could be tighter than the odds suggest. Fulham tend to lose via the top 11 and have beaten 13th and lower. So on the challenge table basis, they'll be fancying themselves this evening. Fulham do tend to score second half, so please bear that in mind. Forest have scored 2+ goals in 4 of the last 6 matches, but are missing Awoniyi. He's the big boy. He's the key to scoring in tight matches. They're yet to play 13th and lower Forest, so we don't have a gauge, do we, in playing 14th today, how they're going to perform. I mention this because they might perform better against bottom half sides, or they might show specific patterns against bottom half sides as compared to the better quality sides. But the fact that they haven't played 13th or lower means we don't have that gauge. Failure to score last match, despite 2+ goals in 4 of the last 6 matches, doesn't signal Forest decline. It was a rare sight, a lack of a goal from Forest last match. Favouring Fulham on their 100% win record against 13th and lower, but we'll wait and see whether that will play out because, as I say, we've got that gap in form for Nottingham Forest. We don't have that gauge, do we? Sheffield United against Liverpool. Get the prayer mat out for the Blades. Have to play Sean Bean, I think, tonight for this one. Only 1 win came against Wolves. They do score and concede, the Blades. So a bit like Luton against Arsenal, could see both teams to score. They've conceded 2 goals. 8 goals at home, be the top 7 in defeat. Between 2 to 8 goals. That will. They've conceded between 2 to 8 goals at home, be the top 7. That gives us an automatic look to what Liverpool can do. Liverpool lost against Spuds in extenuating circumstances. They are more vulnerable away. 4 score draws, 3 consecutive, a loss and only 2 wins. So that score draw habit, I think, is layable if we get a score draw late on. Both teams have scored in Liverpool's last 7 away matches. So please, the Blades, score first. Give us a value angle in. Recent 1-1 away against Luton does remind us that Liverpool may surprise us negatively. We backed Liverpool, didn't we, last match at odds of 10, and they obliged. That is your general rule with Liverpool. Trust them, regardless of the amount of time left. If they're losing against teams they're expected to win, they do tend to pull it out of the fire. And don't forget, Mohamed Salah didn't score last match. He might be itching to get on the score sheet. He does tend to score in his home matches. We'll see if he scores away. Aston Villa against Man City. This is fascinating. And again, personally speaking, Manchester City's odds are a tad short. I did mention that against Tottenham Hotspur, 1.25 odds, far too short. They seem to just completely dismissed Aston Villa's home scoring record under Dick Emery. 4-3-6, 4-3-3 goals scored. Ollie Watkins has scored in 3 consecutive matches, so watch out for him. Make sure he's on the team sheet. Both teams have scored in Villa's last 5. We'd expect that today, certainly. We'd expect Man City to do something. Villa have led at half-time in 5 out of 6 home matches. That's fascinating stuff. 4th against 3rd. This is a top 4 clash. It's arguably a derby-style match. 1.67 is a bit dismissive of the villains. It really is. 100% over 3.5 goals at home for Aston Villa. One of these two is going to be scoring 2+ goals. Villa are yet to concede first half at home. Fascinating again. Certainly, they're playing a side who can change that habit. 3 consecutive City score draws. That's something you'd be looking to lay late on. Lay any late score draw. It's a worrying pattern for Pep Guardiola because they're dropping. They're not losing, but they're dropping 2 points at each turn. Gaps in form for both teams. What do I mean by gaps in form? City are yet to meet 2nd to 6th away. So how on earth do market makers know how they're going to perform against the top 6 side away from home? They don't. So on that basis, it's a bit cavalier of market makers to insert Man City such short odds. Villa are yet to meet the top 7 at home, so we've got no gauge there against how they'll perform against better sides at home. We can infer against outside the top 7 that we'll see 3 goals at least if that pattern can continue against the better sides, the cream at the top. So those gaps in form are there to just remind us to just tread a little wary. There is an element of the unknown as far as form lines is concerned. Man United and Chelsea. Well, 5 wins in 7 for Man United with defeats against Newcastle and Man City. I don't know what the panic is. Man City and Newcastle are the elite, really, aren't they? Well, this season, Newcastle. I don't understand. Those poor fans travelling, Man United fans travelling from the south of England to go and watch their side. It's tough for them. Old flat cap, Eric Den Haag, lost all bar one of the matches they've played against the top 8. That's poor stuff. But Chelsea are 10th. Chelsea about as readable as an autobiography of Gemma Collins, so just be a little careful with them. We're seeing this pattern emerge today, aren't we? Unreadability, gaps in form. There's just some gaps in our knowledge to be confident in our conclusions. Draw, loss, win. Draw, loss, win. Well, that is a pattern, I suppose, but it's not a real pattern. They're not putting together a run of consistently positive results. 4-4-1-3 goals scored recently is a gentle reminder to Man United that if Chelsea click, they could simply outscore Man U today. But which Chelsea will turn up today? The 1-4 win Chelsea? The 4-4 draws Chelsea? How about the 4-1 loss Chelsea? Or the 3-2 win Chelsea? Both teams have lost to the same 2 teams in the last 2 defeats as well. So on that basis as well, but they've both recently lost to Newcastle and Man City. So that, again, is a gauge for us that those Man United defeats against Newcastle and City are not exactly surprising. So don't panic yet, Mr. Mannering, if I was a Man United fan. 5 wins in 7, albeit the sides they've beaten, not the most compelling sides on the planet. We can see that from soccer stats as far as Man United's concerned. Are you taken by their form or not? Let's have a look. So are you taken by that form? A 1-0 win against Luton, newly promoted. And they've got some strange final scorers, haven't they? Dalot, Lindelof. Where's your strikers?
This market has been suspended.
Where's your Rashford? There he is, scoring a penalty. I know there was that talk about Rashford's woeful performance against Newcastle. But there's no panic. This was an away match against the Geordies, who have got an open checkbook. And then this 0-3 loss to Man City. It was always going to be the case. And look, one of the goals was a late one. Erling Haaland, if you can't stop him, he'll score. First goal was a penalty in the first half. I don't see what the major panic is. Look at these wins, though. That's the problem with the supporters. Burnley, Sheffield United, Luton, newly promoted sides. Sticky form. beating Everton as well. But look at Garnacho. If he plays today, he might be a difference. So that's the problem with trust in Man United. When I also research, I also look at the challenge table. It'll put the form lines into context, because what we need to do is to acknowledge the league position and how teams perform against others in and around their opponent's position. So it's clear cut for Man United, isn't it? Absolutely clear cut that they really struggle against the top 8. It's there in black and white for you, isn't it? No second goal against the top 8. Chelsea are just knocking on the door. They're in 10th place. So the question we have to answer is whether that Manchester United poor form against the top 8 will continue down to 10th and lower. Because Man U started winning against 11th and lower. It's a clear pattern. No draw either. It's a late draw. Similar for Chelsea. How do they get on? Well, it's sporadic. That's all I can say. Goals expected, over 3.5 goals to come in on 3 occasions against the top 9 away from home. Is that going to continue today? Normally tends to be on the back of a battering. And this was a London derby. This was Newcastle and Tottenham Hotspur under Postecoglou. So an interesting match, isn't it? But that's how I tend to look at these matches. Let's have a look at Villarreal, Maccabi Haifa. This you'll be favouring the Yellow Submarine here in Group F to win today. Maccabi Haifa on only 1 point. A 1-2 win for Villarreal in the last head-to-head. And Marseille and Lyon. You'll remember Lyon from that match against Lens last match. I think Lyon should be gettable again today. Marseille fans at the Olympic Stadium in Marseille won't let their side get away with a defeat. They are mental supporters. Marseille are unbeaten at home. All wins at home bar 2 0-0 draws, 5 consecutive home clean sheets. Superb stuff. So if they can do that today, or at least if Lyon score first, do please remember those 5 consecutive home clean sheets for Marseille and infer, will that suggest Lyon won't score that second consecutive goal? That's the question we need to answer. That's the question which will make you money. Saw with Wolves yesterday, laid over 1.5 goals, back Burnley +1 on that both teams to score basis, and it remained 1-0 to Wolves. So I've got to break even there, but I'm involved for the whole 90 minutes. 6 out of 8 Lyon goals conceded away have come second half. So we're going to probably see a tighter first half, maybe home fans getting frustrated. Thankfully, Marseille are at home, because away from home, it's all a little dodgy. Any other football today? Well, let's have a look through. Eredivisie to finish. So that's why I haven't researched this. I don't know why it's to finish. How on earth are they going to unpack that one? So maybe leave that one alone. It's cup matches again throughout Europe, and the first port of call is just the odds-on favourites. There'll be all bar one odds-on. Familiar names as well. This is the kind of match I would look to. Knocker from a real lower tier in Belgium. But it's all about the Jupiler League side, whether they're up for the cup or not. Knocker, I don't think we have. Yes, we have head-to-head. So you'll see they're from Division 1. So I like gaps in form when I'm looking at the cup. That's at least gives me a gauge, doesn't it? Zulte Waregem, I don't know if they're still in the Jupiler League or not. But we've got the Belgian Cup. We have a whole raft of cup matches throughout Europe yesterday and probably today. Fortuna League, Poulsen, familiar name, Jablonek, 4 o'clock. I'll be around for those ones. Landspokal Cup. FC Copenhagen, I think, got the loss at the weekend, didn't they, in the Super League. Nordland, very strong favourites against AB Copenhagen, who are from a lower tier. So we've got potentials there again, if they're up for the cup. EFL Trophy, you saw yesterday how tough that was. Ligue 2, 2.6 the favourite. No, thank you very much. Not today. DBF Pokal, Bayer Leverkusen. Get your goal shoes on, unless Xabi Alonso makes significant team changes. 2+ goals expected, although they were a little goal shy last match, but still that didn't stop them getting the win. I think they were little goal shy last match. Yeah, 1-1 against Dortmund, but they came back from behind to get that equaliser. So a lot of familiar names tonight. This is it epitomises our struggle in the cup. Are these two up for the cup, or are they more up for trying to get a Champions League spot or ensuring that? Kofisias, at least the newly promoted, are they going to perform better in the Greek Cup? They'll all be on the in-place stats feed for me this evening. There's no point researching these. Liga Ha'al, Hapoel Beersheva, all hail to the L 545. I think they could be competitive. We've got a Jerusalem derby. As you know about derbies, we tend to leave them alone. Fiorentina got that simple win against Salernitana at the weekend. Playing Parma in the cup. Parma lower tier. So we will see. Norwegian Elite Serie relegation. So this is all that hard work from Valoranga in securing a result on the final day of the season has got them. This 1-1 has got them another opportunity against the side from the Tipper League. Over 2 legs to see if Valorant can survive. That's the best they can hope for from their position, particularly with a 1-1. With a win, I think they could have been safe this season. So that'd be fascinating. You could arguably lay the late draw in these types of matches because a win is required. Polish Cup, Portuguese Cup, Romanian Cup. That's about it. And the SPL this evening, didn't research because you've got a 2.2, 2.55 the favourite, and then you've got your really obvious plays, Celtic and Hibs. And Hearts and Rangers, you'll note that the Rangers odds are not their usual ultra short odds. That does suggest that Hearts could be competitive this evening. Let's have a look in the head-to-heads. Well, in the League Cup, Rangers, both teams have scored in the last 3 matches, with Rangers not losing. We'll look to this potential draw here, but the fact that Hearts are scoring against Rangers is of interest at 8 o'clock, if I'm still awake. I hope to be. I'd like to make some money this evening. Copa del Rey, any familiar names? Again, take a look at the odds on favourites. Mallorca, I think if I was Mallorca, I'd get out of this cup because they are struggling in Primera Liga this season to get consistent wins. Got to get out of this cup match. Stick to staying up in the Primera Liga. That's where your big bucks are. Sporting Gijón. So they're all playing lower tier sides. So you've got a natural inclination, haven't you, to these big names against. Look at this, Andraxt. The Andrex Poppy is playing Real Sociedad this evening. 1.18 shot. Normally they should be ultra short. This is SDB, Secunda RFEF Group 3. This is about as big a gap as you can get. But only 1.18. I say only. Real Sociedad really should be a lot shorter. But it's are they going to change the team midweek with the league match upcoming? Swiss Super League, St. Helene odds on favourites against Yverdon, newly promoted Yverdon. And as you know, we take on newly promoted. Young Boys against Lusanoshi, I think are newly promoted as well. So got a good coupon this evening there. And of course the Thai Cup, which you're all keen to play. I wonder if there's Pattaya United. I'm in Pattaya at the moment. 12 o'clock, I might go and watch that one. Take notes for you, of course. I'll provide a full report to you on that match when it ends. I'm just looking for Fuahin FC. They're not there either. Prachuap Khiri Khan. That's where I live. So they're playing the Thai Navy today. Turkish Cup. We're going to see some of the familiar names. Trabzonspor, for example. Kayserispor. Hatayspor. So this might offer us some angles in. But liquidity is a potential concern. Busy night tonight. Not sure when I'll start the chat. I start the chat simply when the first trade appears. That's the general rule of thumb. The earliest kickoffs. Well, a smattering of matches throughout the afternoon. So I will be monitoring them for you. This is how the day progresses. Turkish football will be very early. Copa del Rey, 11 a.m. So if you're up early for the cup, I'll naturally be following them anyway because I've got a bit of work to do. I can put the in-play stats on in the background and just monitor. So really, what are we looking at? Perhaps 3 o'clock for Spain. So this is all in time orders. It gives you an idea. 5 o'clock could be a good starting point this evening. We've got familiar names at least in the Cup. Slavia Prague, Nordland, and of course the mighty Arab Contractors. There's only one Arab Contractors. 5 o'clock as well for Bayer Leverkusen. The form they're in, you'd expect 2+ goals from them today. You expect them to end that pattern of not scoring 2 goals last time against Dortmund. Still remain unbeaten in the Bundesliga, but an excellent goal-filled side. Have a great day today. Probably 5 o'clock start for me today, but if there is anything from the earlier kickoffs, I'll certainly pass it on to you. Have a great evening.